Hi guys, we're going to be talking about characters in Mushoku Tensei in this video because I really love it and I just finished a full rewatch of it and I honestly couldn't get enough. So yeah, um, we're going to start with the characters because that's what most draws me to the story and to the world really. But yeah, you're all going to be new here, so like and subscribe and drop a comment and let me know who your favorite character is and why. With that, let's go ahead and get started. The first character that I want to talk about is Rijerd. I think that he is such a great character who is unjustly unliked, obviously, and despite his best intentions, he tends to go about things the wrong way. Like, his main priority seems to always be protecting children, and that's how he's going to sort of restore the Spared's reputation. He's actually made more of a name for himself for being a violent and malicious person, hence the name Dead End. And thanks to Rudius stepping in and being like, okay, let's do it this way. Let's build a reputation that's positive around the name Dead End. And it's through his constant efforts that way, along with shaving his head, that sort of starts to dispel the curse on the Spared and the prejudice. At the end of season 1, we start to see he helps these travelers on the road, and they weren't scared of him. They were just impressed that he helped, and they even say it would be rude of us to be afraid of someone who just saved our lives. Rijerd is a good person. I think he just gets it a little wrong sometimes. I love seeing the reward for his efforts paying off in such a way to where he starts to be able to befriend other people without people judging him or being afraid of him. My next favorite character, who is probably everybody's favorite character, and rightfully so, we're going to talk about Rudius. And I adore Rudius because he's not just this OP protagonist who is always virtuous, always does things right. He is a deeply flawed character. His first most obvious flaw is he's a gigantic pervert. And my first watch through, I almost stopped because I just couldn't take it. It could have dumbed down the perversion a little bit. But men are often thinking with their dicks, so it'd almost be relatable if it didn't involve stealing panties or always copying a feel. That was one of my biggest gripes with Mushoku Tensei, and I'm glad I stuck with it because Rudius, after starting over in his new life, decides that he is going to give this life his best shot, and he does it beautifully. And even when he fails, he really takes it to heart, and he does his best to be better than he was. And that really hits home with me because as someone who has struggled with alcoholism for years, when you see yourself go back to a moment that you thought that you had overcome and you fail in a similar way, it just feels so miserable. And I think Mushoku Tensei does such a good job of showing that, like when Paul dies and he says, I thought I had changed, but I'm right back where I was. That moment hits so close to home for me, and it feels so good to see another person, albeit a fictional one, struggle with this, my God, I'm back to square one. That feeling is just, it's a miserable feeling, but he picks up, he learns from it, and he begins again and does his best not to succumb to that old self. And I think that's really beautiful. The final character that I want to talk about, who is also one of my favorites, and this might be kind of a hot take, but I want to talk about Norn. Norn is, compared to the rest of the Grey Rats, sort of underwhelming. What I mean by that is she doesn't have strong magical powers. She's not an expert at sword or cooking like Aisha or cleaning or any of that. She, despite that, she still always gives her best. And that kind of shows that it shows beauty in being normal. And I love that because growing up, my dad always used to tell me that I was destined for greatness or something of the sort. And while I appreciated the encouragement, never turned out to be true. I'm just normal. And all I can do is keep trying and trying to be better, develop, you know, skills like editing videos or, learning to relate with people better. That's what makes me love Norm so much because she's just a person. She might not exceed, but she will succeed and she will be better. That's going to do it for today. Let me know who your favorite characters are and why in the comments, and maybe I'll be back sometime later this week or next week with more characters that I really like. Thanks.